Three, two, one. Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Najjar Sayed. And with me, as always, the general from Kakul Cricket Academy, Bashar Sayed.
The captain.
The captain, General, Major. Major Sayed is here with us.
Yo, I don't want no black Vigos, bro. Relax.
We're in Canada?
Respect the Kakul Academy.
Kakul Academy and his training camp has finished. Pakistan's T20 squad is announced. Pakistan's new captain is all upon us. As always with me, we're going to be diving into a lot of news stories coming out of Pakistan cricket, as always, as world cricket. People still mad that we haven't touched the IPL yet, Bashar. Thoughts on that? Right off the bat.
I think just honestly, we want to cover the IPL.
How though?
We want to cover, do some sort of an IPL review, but I think I'm too worried about doing it right. So I'm trying to make sure that we're well researched. We've watched all the games. We know what's going on. Trying to figure out why RCB continues to be a horrible team.
I tweeted this out from Backward Point's account. RCB is the LQ of the IPL this year, except LQ actually has 2 trophies in the bag.
Ridiculous. I mean, to know that Virat Kohli has not won an IPL.
And to know that Virat Kohli's team was having one of the worst IPLs of all time.
Yeah, I think they're like bottom of the table, right? They've
Bottom
lost
of the table,
6 matches.
6, I think 5 on the trot for sure. And 6 in total, 1 win, 7 played. Reminding me of a very horrific Lahore Qalandars PSL campaign that just passed through.
You listen to Virat's interviews and he says that for me, it's not about trophies. It's not about the accolades.
Oh, we know that.
Virat, we know that. It's more about the memories. It's more about having fun and playing for one team.
So much fun losing together, guys.
I mean, I think he wants to be the Kobe Bryant of Lakers, but the difference is that Kobe won.
Yeah, you want 5 chips for the Lakers.
So
VK,
VK, bro, if you got to move to get an IPL chip, do it, man. Do it.
Maybe the chips were just the friends we made in the IPL together.
The question is, will Babar Azam be doing push-ups when he gets to his next century in the coming series?
Man, I don't even know. This is funny because to get a Babar Azam into form, you bring New Zealand C team in Pakistan, you'll see him just blow up. This guy will go into robot cyborg mode against the New Zealand C team. He will hit, in the next 5 T20s, he might hit 3 centuries. 2 of them back to back.
I don't know why people are so obsessed with Babar Azam centuries.
What do you mean why?
No, they're like, oh, Babar Azam get a century.
Yeah, it's because...
Bro, let's put personal milestones aside and let's talk about Babar scoring match-winning runs.
Okay.
Not 50s, not 100s, match-winning runs.
Man, we come back after a break and this guy immediately starts his anti-Babar agenda. Like, I don't even know what to do with him anymore. Listen to me.
Yo, I've changed hats so people don't think I'm on the Islamabad United agenda. This is
people
just
think,
Bashar agenda, bro.
People think you're on the Raptors agenda, which is somehow even worse for a cricket podcast. But listen to me. When Babar scores, I want someone to put the stats in there. I don't have the stats, but off the top of my head, I'm going to shoot a random number out. When Babar scores a century, 80% win for Pakistan. Correct or incorrect?
That's too high. That number is very high.
Really? All right.
Bro, I think Sachin has like a 50 or 55% win ratio every time he scored 100 for India. But I think, Babar may be like 60%, 70%, but 80% is pretty high.
Okay, so I'm just asking ChatGPT what...
It might not know because the numbers won't be up to date.
Okay, but it'll have a sort of a ballpark number as to what's going on, no?
We can check after. I think we shouldn't waste time just checking ChatGPT.
Hey, ChatGPT is loading in the background.
Point is,
you're just scared to get numbers off. That's not going to match with your number.
No, the point is that we need to, as a Pakistani team in T20s, we need to go beyond personal milestones. I remember this one match vividly. Last year, same New Zealand C team was here, and Rizwan was in his 90s. And the last over, he spent trying to score 100. And he wasted like 3 balls or 4 balls. And Mahad Wasim was on the other end. And Pakistan were short a few runs because of Rizwan trying to get to his 100. In the end, he didn't get his 100 and Pakistan lost the match.
Okay, so do you remember that New Zealand-Pakistan game where Babar scored 17 off the last over to get a century?
Yes.
What about that?
Well, that was good because he was trying to play with the intent to score 100. Rizwan was trying to like dab it for singles and get off strike, take a double. Babar was actually looking to hit boundaries.
All right, I got stats for you for Babar Azam centuries. Ready?
Go for it.
Every time Babar Azam has scored a century in T20Is, Pakistan has won.
Good. That's
All
3
right.
matches.
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
He scored 300s.
4. 4 losses in one-day international centuries
Okay.
out of 19.
Nice.
That's 1 tie in there as well. So 3 losses. Okay. So test matches is a bit different. We have 2 losses and 3 draws after every century he scored. So was I wrong with my 80% number, guys? Or was Bashar just scared and wanted to change the topic so quickly that this guy was ready to drop everything? He was about to walk off the podcast.
Yo, my
80%.
mindset has changed. We have to look beyond rankings, beyond personal milestones. We have to look for more impactful innings. If Pakistan wants to be a World Cup winning team, that's what we need to focus on. Last year, and I'm so pissed about this, we were like, number 1 ODI team, number 1 batsman, or number 3 bowler, number 5 all-rounder. Bro, we didn't even qualify top 4. So let's move our mindset beyond rankings. The Australian team is never number 1 in ODIs. They were never. Pat Cummins is not the number 1 ODI bowler. Travis Head is not the number 1 ODI batsman. But when the time comes, when Australia needs them, they fire and they win trophies.
But Australia also prides itself for having Ricky Ponting. I think he's the number 3rd or 4th most runs scored ever by a player is Ricky Ponting in that list. He's a 3 or 4 on that.
He has the 3rd most hundreds in Russia.
Yeah, so that's a stat that the Australians it's held to a very high regard.
But that's a product of him playing for the team and playing in winning causes.
Why can't Pakistan have somebody who is in the top 5 of there and he also wins matches, as I showed you every time he scores centuries? But I just think we're digressing. We have an agenda. Let's follow that.
We do have an agenda.
This guy's ever since he went to Islamabad United, guys, his Babar Azam anti-agenda is next level. This is why we don't get him on the pod. All right, Kakul training camp. So
do you like the content from Kakul?
Man, I was unbearable.
TSFP.
Could not watch it. How far was Backward Point from Kakul? Not that far when we were in Islamabad. We never got a phone call. That's all I'm saying. You get 1 phone call, you get a better Babar Azam interview, you get a better Saim Ayub interview. That's all I'm saying.
Probably because we don't have the connections to get into Kakul.
No comments about that. Kakul training camp. Okay. So let's just move forward to that. What did you think about
Tell me why our players are training to jump over walls.
I'm just going to ask you that. You've been to PIA Cricket Academy in your youth when you were a youngin'. How many times have they made you rock climb and jump over walls and fight the enemies across the different cricket academy?
Well, because that was the PIA Academy. That was an actual cricket academy. So we were doing cricket-specific training, cricket-specific stretching exercises. This to me did not look like cricket-specific training. Maybe they worked on endurance, fitness, but some of the visuals that came out, people jumping over walls, running off ropes. Some of that stuff that Naseem Shah was doing was that could injure this guy.
My heart was in my throat. I was like, this is it.
One twist of ankle, one slip off the wall, and you're in a World Cup year. Anything can happen.
Azam Khan basically bench pressing, was it Saim Ayub or Mohammad Haris? Mohammad Haris across the field. What's going on? What are we doing? We're basically memeing ourselves. If, God forbid, Pakistan loses against India in the World Cup, what are the Indian fans going to be playing on their timeline? This shit. We do this to ourselves, guys. This is what we do. Firstly, if it was going to be a Kakul training camp, it wasn't a training camp. It was basically, has anyone seen Love Island? It's basically Love Island. It was the biggest reality show that Pakistan cricket has played in a very long time. We don't know who the PCB is going to choose as their final person. Is it going to be Shaheen? Is it going to be Babar? We don't know. But they're all stuck in one hotel while this is going on.
I love that analogy.
Some big boss shit going on. But this is insane. Firstly, that was happening. And then, on top of that, icing on the cake, you get these visuals coming out with just it felt like these 20, 25-year-old kids were going off to war. It's cricket. Yeah, I understand endurance is important. And I understand that you want to get the best out of these guys. And somehow there's precedence that the last time Pakistan cricket team went to Kakul, we just became the number 1 team, which we kind of did.
No, we beat England 2-2 in England.
And then we got the test mace, I feel like. Am I misremembering this?
Yeah, it was around the
same time.
Yeah.
So this has just become a precedence. When Jonathan dumps, call Kakul. okay, I guess this is it. I mean, it was just bonkers. It was ridiculous. It was hard to see. I'm just glad people got kick out of it. I'm glad that there was like lots of memes. I'm just scared that those memes will backfire and then we'll have to be the ones defending it on Twitter. And you know what? Now that we have North America's #1 cricket podcast, you gotta do some damage control when it comes to stuff like this. So I don't know. What about you? Thoughts, vibes?
Yeah, I just thought that Pakistan had a very busy past few months. Boys just finished the PSL. Ramadan was here. A good time to just cool off, enjoy with the family before another couple of months of hectic back-to-back cricket. But instead, they were called to Kakul, rigorous training camp, 10 days while they were fasting, post-fasting. Lots of running, I'm hearing. Lots of mountain climbing, hiking, trekking. So I just hope the boys enjoyed it and it helped as a bonding session. Because when you're changing captains, I'm sure there's groups, someone's supporting Shaheen, someone's supporting Babar. There may have been some supporting Rizwan as well. If Babar Azam in an interview said that Ifti is a businessman. So I don't know what kind of business decisions that Ifti Bhai was making
At
in Kakul.
Astaghfirullah, brothers. I don't
And
know,
then
man.
at the same time, I think what's funny is we have to talk about this. Shaheen's cryptic Instagram story.
I was gonna ask you, when was the last time you subtweeted somebody on an Instagram story?
Man, it's been years. It's been years. It's like when you wanted somebody in your followers list to see something, you wanted to imply something towards them, you would post that sort of a story, a quotation. And then if they relate to it, if the shoe fits, it fits.
Yeah.
But Shaheen's story here, and if you don't know what's going on,
Who doesn't know what's going on?
I'll just read what he said.
Please. No, you have to read it in that same like vigorous voice.
So Shaheen basically posted a story of a lion. It was a lion.
Roar.
It was a reel of a lion, and in the background was this narration,
Please.
which said,
Bro, we got $500 mics. I want you to go like full. You know what I mean?
"Never ever put me in a position where I have to show you how cruel and how ruthless I can be. Don't test my patience, because I might be the kindest and sweetest person you've ever met. But once I reach my limit, you'll see me do the things that no one thought I was capable of doing." This is Shaheen Afridi's Instagram story. And then the next story was just a black screen of 3 laughing emojis. So I don't know what that means. Like, was he joking? Was that implying towards something? Are we seeing Shaheen's villain arc begin here?
Man, honestly, who needs TV when you got the past Pakistan cricket team and the Pakistan cricket board, to be honest? This is just comical beyond comical. You were Pakistan cricket team captain 25 minutes before you posted that story. And now you're a meme. How does that make you feel?
I just feel bad for Babar's manager, Shaheen's manager, and Rizwan's manager.
Oh, wait, they're the same guy?
It's the same guy. The same guy. So I don't know how he's doing that damage control. There was this one picture of Shaheen, Babar, and Rizwan sitting on a rock in Kakul that was posted as their story. So maybe that was their idea of doing that damage control. But come on, man. People aren't stupid. We know what's going on.
Yeah, like the worst PR campaign that was ever run, at least in the past 5 years, it has been in the past 2 months. Whatever is coming out of the PCB and the Pakistan cricket team has been utter disappointment. The way it's being handled has been just horrific. And there's nothing positive to say about it. And the fact that we're here making jokes, I feel like there's a part of us that is equally hurt. We're like, the only way we can make sense of this extreme chaos is by joking about it, because, humor is the best self-defense, yada, yada, yada. But we come here with genuine, concern. Like, what is going on? The past couple of weeks, the last podcast we posted, when this is kind of come out, it's going to be about 2 weeks ago. And every single day I'd wake up and I'd check Twitter and I'd be stressed out. I don't know what's going on. Who's trending? The Babar is trending. I would actually be happy when Harim Shah was trending. I was like, okay, good. Some other drama that is non-related to cricket is going on. I can live my life. It was chaotic. It was insane. I have PTSD just from the past 2 weeks. And then people are like, oh, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about that? Honestly, when we're discussing this, it feels like we're talking about Love is Blind or something. This is equally insane of what's going on in the Pakistan cricket team. I want everybody to just calm down in there, right? I'm so glad there's been zero busy week. You know, the only news that's come out has been like, oh, Pakistan T20 squad is out. All right, familiar names. But oh, wait. Even in that, there's drama because they dropped Mohammad Haris. Like, what is going on? I genuinely don't understand it. And, you know, I love doing this podcast with you. I love coming out. I love people's reactions. I love talking to people. I love the Discord family, the Patreon fam. But it's days like this when there's like not a lot of cricket happening, but there's still so much cricket news coming out that's totally irrelevant to everything. I wish that like I could just like be in my bunker and just like forget about it, read a good book. Here we are.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the next funny thing is Pakistan has a 7-man selection committee. It used to be one person in charge, and then they come out, they do a press conference. But now, last thing that was announced by Wahab Riaz, talk about Wahab as well, he's taking on a dual role. There were so many seats as the selection committee that it wasn't fitting in one frame.
Yeah, the press conference.
Such a Shafiq, one of the committee members, was half cut. And I'll just read out who the 7-man committee is. It's Wahab Riaz, it's Abdul Razak, it's Asad Shafiq, it's Muhammad Yusuf. There is this random data analyst who we've never heard of. It's Babar Azam, and it's a head coach that is yet to be announced.
When was the last time that Pakistan, anything Pakistan was sort of ruled at a committee basis and it succeeded?
I don't know. And the way this committee works is that they do a voting. And because
it's
there's 7
democracy.
people.
It's democracy.
At least there's democracy somewhere in Pakistan.
Oh my God. Our prime minister doesn't complete 5 years in this country, but we got this 7-seater. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. Like, how do you... So, Asad Shafiq, we ran into in Islamabad, right? He was this close to coming on the podcast. If I knew what I knew now, and he did come on the podcast then, what a podcast that would have been. Man, like, honestly... I don't even know where to begin with this. Who can you elaborate on who the data analyst is more? Because that's one, we know everybody else, but that's somebody that's a little bit in the dark shadows.
Yeah, this guy's an engineer from UFT.
No way.
Yeah.
Bro.
UFT engineer. He says he understands data. He's worked with data. But I think cricket data is different. Like, you need to understand what strike rate means, what economy rate is, what death over strike rate is. All that stuff, you need to have some cricketing background to give people the right context. Because if you're saying, oh, Haris Strofe has an economy of 8.5, but he's a death over bowler, so 8.5 is actually relatively a decent economy. So I don't know how much cricketing background he has. He mentioned that he has a math and stats background, so he's able to manipulate the data.
Good for him, but I mean, I don't know. I don't trust somebody that knows that many numbers.
And I think he was working very closely with Mohsin Naqvi when Mohsin Naqvi was the interim CM of Punjab.
Great. That doesn't do anything to help his case at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. And then Babar Azam was there, the captain.
That's fine.
And a head coach, which is not announced yet. But Muhammad Yusuf hinted that it's going to be Gary Kirsten. And we also have reports that Jason Gillespie from Australia also wants to join in.
I have no opinions on this. This is just a complete...
Like, imagine a scenario. They're like, okay, let's talk about, the committee's in place. 7 people, 7th one to get to join in. And they're like, what are your thoughts on Naseem Jr.? And Babar Azam's like, I like him. Asad Shafiq's like, I like him. But Razak, Wahab, and data analyst are opposed. And then head coach is like, I like him too, but they're like 3-3 tied. And then we have Muhammad Yusuf, who's like the deciding vote.
That's such a bleak picture you posed.
And they're all stuck in a room because they need to announce a squad and they need to make these decisions.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Oh, this is the best analogy of all time, I think. We made some really bad ones on this show, but like this one's pretty good. You've seen Moneyball, right?
I have.
That scene where Brad Pitt's there with Jonah Hill's character, and they're sitting there, and these old heads are just going back at it, and he just keeps pointing at Jonah Hill, and that infamous line, well, not infamous, the very famous line comes in where he says, there's Yankee players, just dog of shit, or whatever he says, and then there's us. That's what this scene, that scene is a direct representation of what's going to be happening in this scenario. Like, now, whoever you want to be Brad Pitt, that's your call. I think Babar Azam is going to be Brad Pitt in that situation. He's like, we need this person And Asad Shafiq's going to be like, no. I think that also Asad Shafiq not being in that frame, like you were mentioning, is another agenda against Karachi players that we don't have to get into, but I just want to put out there.
I think he's in the committee because of the whole Karachi agenda.
He's the only Karachi player.
quota, you can say.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then
Even
Wahab
worse,
Riaz.
so if that's the best Karachi player they found to be in part of the quota, like what's going on?
Yeah. And then Wahab Riaz said that he's going to join the team as a senior team manager.
So does that mean that he's only going to be the team manager for the senior players?
I don't know.
What is that? What does senior team manager mean?
Yeah, it's just I don't know exactly what that
He actually has this in the notes that says WTF does that even mean? And also I just want everybody to know that in the 7-man selection committee team that Bashar has in his notes, he does not have the guy's name. He just says data
I
analyst.
forgot his name actually.
That's just how relevant this whole situation has become. Like, I don't mind the Pakistan team becoming a bit more modern and like seeking advice from data analysts. I think that's great. I just don't think there should be one on the committee of the selection committee.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Even this sentence that just came out of my mouth seems like a fever dream. So we're just gonna keep
a lot of power to this random bloke
from UFT. I mean, this random bloke from UFT has a lot of power on this podcast too, but
I wouldn't be on a selection committee. But if I would, Mohammad Haris would be in the squad.
Yes, he would.
So Pakistan has always had this debate, foreign coaches, local coaches. Some people are against foreign, some are for the local ones. And Pakistan has found a very sweet spot by having Azam Mahmood, a local guy who lives in a foreign country. And they're like, bro, we need you because you cover both boxes. There's a gray area and you fit right there.
Love me some Azam Mahmood, bro. Love me. I mean, like, from going to win the PSL title, and then now he's like, what, interim coach? Why don't this make him the full coach? I don't get that.
Well, he's agreed to be demoted to being an assistant coach.
Okay, fair enough.
Once Gary Kirsten and Jason Gillespie join in.
Not the worst selection that I've seen the PCB make in a long time. This guy has years of coaching experience in the counties in England and in the PSL and some other leagues as well. I mean, I wouldn't hate it if he was the Pakistan cricket team coach, but I guess assistant coach works too. I don't mind it.
Also, Islamabad United agenda. Azam Mahmood, we need him there.
Sure, 100%. I mean, not just apart from the Islamabad United agenda. I think he's, the biggest criticism that Mohammad Hafiz had was what's his background in coaching. And I think that at least Azam Mahmood has relevant experience there.
When this Pakistan team was announced, Mohammad Hafiz tweeted, "Rest in peace, domestic cricket."
I mean,
and that was my reaction when he was announced as the team director. I was like, "Rest in peace, domestic cricket."
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if the shoe fits, right, Mohammad Hafiz, if the shoe fits, buddy, please come on the podcast. I think that he'd be a great guest on the pod. But moving on, I think we talked about Mohammad Haris not being in the squad a little bit. Well, if you want to dive deeper into it, go ahead.
Yeah, I think if you look at Mohammad Haris's overall stats and ODIs and T20s, you're like, okay, this guy has a 14 average, 127 strike rate. Maybe I don't think he deserves to be in the team. But if you look back at the pressure games he's played for Pakistan, which starts off in the last T20 World Cup, he came to bat when Pakistan was in trouble. He scored 28 off 11 balls against South Africa in the match where your mighty Riz-Bar Rizwan scored 4 off 4. Babar Azam scored 6 runs off 15 balls in a World Cup match, do or die against South Africa. Shan Masood scored 2 off 6 balls. And amidst this chaos emerged Mohammad Haris, who's 28 off 11 balls, just changed Pakistan's whole direction in the World Cup. It gave a platform for Shadab and Iftikhar to come in and play their innings. And even the game against Bangladesh, again, a do-or-die game, he scored 31 off 18 balls, where Rizwan scored a run-up ball 32. Babar scored 25 off 33 balls. 25 off 33 balls. And Mohammad Nawaz scored 4 off 11 balls. So he's emerged as a player who, when your main guys are flopping, he is coming in and he's performing out of the box, unorthodox, impactful innings. Now, he's centrally contracted, but he's being bothered for the past few months. Starting off with when Shaheen became captain, he was rested against New Zealand.
Horrendous decision.
He's 23 years old. How can you rest this guy? Anyways, and then he goes to the BPL, where once he gets there, he does not have an NOC, so he has to fly back. And then he doesn't have the greatest PSL because his best performances have come when he was an opener. And now Simon Babar are opening, so he's one down. So he's not being able to play at the best of his abilities. And just my hot take, I just think Mohammad Haris should leave Zalmi and go to a different team where he can be a keeper and an opener. Maybe Karachi, maybe, I don't know, some other team where he can, Lahore, yeah, whatever. Wherever he can play as a keeper and an opener, that's where Mohammad Haris should go, because right now he's just too much in competition with Hasibullah, who out of nowhere has come in and taken his place. So, I mean, for me to understand that this guy, Mohammad Haris, who has played such impactful knocks with literally a modern day T20 player who can play the scoop shot, who can utilize it properly, change the course of a game between 15, 20 balls, is not even Pakistan's 22-man plan for the World Cup.
Again, I just want to repeat myself. Horrendous. Like, this man had the balls of steel to go against Nokia on his opening debut game and pull him for 4.
But you're just saying that because he was on your podcast.
Well, not only that, I mean, that's what the criticism is going to be. I can already hear the keyboard warriors going at it. That's not the case. Like, the stats that you just pulled up, if that anybody else in this Pakistan team had the first 3 games that Mohammad Haris had in a World Cup, like, this is the sort of game that, like, Azam Khan is hoping and praying out of his head to have. Like, he really wants these games, and that Mohammad Haris has. He deserves to be in the 22-man squad. Whatever's happening with him, I don't know what's going on internally, what politics is being played against him. It does not make any sense. You know, everybody's off color nowadays, but just to drop him off of what one bleak PSL, not even that bleak, to be honest, like Shaheen Nafidi being whooped against Mohammad Haris in this PSL was one of my favorite highlights of the entire PSL, to be honest. And, you know, this 7-man selection committee, if that's one thing that they should start answering for, it's that. Like, what's going on? Why is Mohammad Haris not in the playing 11? Give me a reason for that. You know, give me a veto, give me a voting situation, whatever's going on. I need answers for that, because it makes complete, utter nonsense for him to be dropped. Like, even if he's not going to be in your 11, he has to be in your 15. He has to be in your 22. And here we are, like, talking about him being a no-show. These guys, I know for a fact, this 7-man squad is not going to pick Haris for the World Cup. You can bet on it right now. Even though I'm pretty sure Babar Azam, who's one of the 7 votes, what is this percentage at that? Like 15%? 15% vote will be for Haris, but they chose Usman Khan instead.
Imagine what this will do for Mohammad Haris' confidence, right? So he comes into a World Cup, he plays, you know, I would say selfless knocks, 28 off 11. This is an opportunity for him to, like, score 50 off 35 balls if he wants. But he scores 28 off 11, and he gets out trying to take on Nokia again. So what is this going to do to a player like Mohammad Haris, where he's like, oh, they're judging me by my average, they're judging me by my strike rate. I'll just go in next time for Pakistan. I'll score my 40 ball 50, raise my bat, and I'll go off. So I can secure my place for the team in the next match. So he is then playing for himself, not for the team. And if Pakistan wants to produce impactful players in their T20 team, they need to pick players like Mohammad Haris. They need to back him. I was very pissed last series when Saim Ayub was dropped after 4 matches. I think Saim Ayub is the kind of player where you just back him.
You keep playing him.
You tell him, bro, 12 games to the World Cup, you're playing every single match, and you're playing the World Cup. Regardless if you score 5 ducks, 6 ducks, it doesn't matter. Because we know when Saim Ayub gets going, he's going to finish the match with Pakistan. He's going to give us that start that's going to make Pakistan ahead of the game from the power play. And Mohammad Haris is a similar kind of player. So if we're not going to back Mohammad Haris, we're not going to produce impactful players, and we're not going to win trophies.
It's a Fakhar Zaman situation where he had a very bad World Cup, but when it counted the most, when Pakistan needed him the most, comes out and scores a brilliant century. I think he was one of the 3 or 4 players in that World Cup to score a century, and one of the best centuries that Pakistan has seen in a World Cup of all time was scored by Fakhar Zaman, who everybody, I think even us at some point were starting to doubt. We're like, I think the old Fakhar Zaman has gone away now. We should call it. And Fakhar Zaman comes out and scores one of the most brilliant knocks I've seen ever. So players like Fakhar, players like Mohammad Haris, these are the life and blood of Pakistan, and Saim Ayub as well. You just don't drop them off a certain number of handful of performances, because that's not who they are. That's not the aggregate of the player. The aggregate of the player is in tough situations, it's in tense conditions, and you back them up, and they will produce it for you. Like, I believe in that. So Mohammad Haris being dropped, abysmal, shameful, horrendous, and yeah,
It just shows how volatile Pakistan cricket is. You can be their main player in a World Cup 1 year, and then literally in 2 series you're dropped. You're nowhere to be found. And this leads you to my next point, where Usman Khan has given up his UAE residency, his opportunity to be a international player for the UAE. He has also given up his ability to be a local player in the UAE leagues, such as the LT20, the Abu Dhabi D10, the Sharjah League, whatever league happens there. And he has given up all that to pursue a career for Pakistan cricket. Now, he was part of the domestic circuit. He used to play for the Sindh second 11, but he mentioned that he wasn't promoted to the first 11. So he wasn't able to make his place for the Pakistan team, which is why he felt like he was being treated unfairly. He left Pakistan, went to the UAE. I actually met him last summer when he was here playing for the Brampton Wolves in the Global T20. So I had a chance to meet him there. But by last year, he was under no impression of leaving his career for the UAE and playing for Pakistan. He actually was looking forward to play against Pakistan once he qualifies for the UAE. But I think some conversations with the selectors, with the team captain, has convinced him to be a player for Pakistan. And I think he is set to make his debut this series. But I just think a very risky call by Usman, because if things don't go his way, two bad innings, one bad innings here, he's dropped from the team. They're playing 11, and he could be
Stranded.
stranded.
What conversation? Who do you think came up with Usman Khan and was like, you should stay for Pakistan?
Well, let's say if I'm Usman Khan and if Mohsin Naqvi is like, you're going to play for Pakistan the next 2 years, I would be like, Mohsin Naqvi, you don't even know if you're going to be in 2 years. So how are you going to give me the security of me playing for the next 2 years or even the next 2 series? So I don't know who had the conversation. I don't know how he was convinced because it is risky. But I think there's also a flip side to this where, let's say, hopefully he gets picked, he plays, he performs. That could open up a lot of different avenues for him, like other big leagues that can pay him the big bucks that maybe being a local player for the UAE may not give him that same opportunity.
Okay, but I have a question. Does Pakistan cricket team need Usman Khan?
I think there's a place at number 4 which is vacant, and the Pakistan team is looking at trying different options. I think that's where they see Usman Khan fit in.
Why couldn't Shadab just get promoted at number 4? He played higher in the PSL this year throughout.
I don't know. It's a good question. Also, Usman Khan plays as a wicketkeeper, so does Rizwan need to give up his keeping to play as a keeper? Also, we have Azam Khan. They've picked him as well. So is Azam Khan going to play?
This is what I mean. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like the 2019 ODI World Cup for India, where MS Dhoni was playing, Rishabh Pant was playing, and Dinesh Karthik was playing.
Same team.
Same team.
Same
So
11.
3 keepers. Pakistan will also have 3 keepers potentially in their 11.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's not like Pakistan itself has had a top 4 problem in the sense that they have an abundance of top 4 players. Like, at this point, we need less of them because we need more middle order, lower middle order players to come in and smack the ball. Now, Pakistan retaining and asking Usman Khan to stay back just seems like they're just, aggravated that already pretty aggressive issue that they had, which is that they have Babar, they have Rizwan, they have Saim, they have Fakhr. Okay, Fakhr is injured potentially, but those 3 they have. And then, there was also talks of Abdullah Shafiq's not in the team anymore. Suddenly, you need a number 4 spot, but you have Shadab, who's been rotating and floating around in the entire PSL. You promote him. He's actually been really good in the top 3, 4, 5. You put him there, and suddenly you have a chance to sort of bolster and strengthen your lower middle order, where you can come in and you can get someone like an Azam Khan. You can get someone like, name another lower middle hitter that can come in and smack the ball miles. You get that explosion near the middle end. But instead, you're sort of solidifying something that's already been solidified. That doesn't make sense to me.
I think it would be really cool if Pakistan can use Shadab as a batting all-rounder. And then also that gives you an opportunity to play someone like an Abrar Ahmed as this extra spinner.
Sure.
Or Naseem Amir. Because that'll just give you so many bowling options.
But this is exactly what I'm saying. So why would you sort of cement yourself with Usman Khan when you could have done that? When you could have had a moment where you could have floated Shadab from 4-7, wherever he is best, and have someone like Iftikhar go out there and be explosive, and Azam go out there and be explosive. Instead, you've locked yourself down. And not only that, I don't know who was advising Usman Khan, but this was a horrendous move. Like, we could be talking very differently in the next 3 months and talking about how Usman Khan was the best thing that ever happened to Pakistan cricket. That's actually a very big chance. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I've seen this game closely for too long to know that there are moments like this where, you know, people were anti-Amir, and then Amir had that beautiful spell. First, Amir comes out and beats England in England in Test match series, and then has the 2017 spell that everybody's like insane. And then he goes back to being a villain. Like, I've seen that arc so many times that where I'm like, Usman Khan right now seems like an idiot for doing this, but he might as well come back and win the T20 World Cup and become a hero. Like, we actually could see that happen. But in this moment, because that's all I know right now from this moment and the 3 months behind me, seems like a pretty dumb move, especially if you're talking about just financially. He probably has just sort of fractured the next 3-4 years of at least any Dubai related.
His contract in the LT20 was 50 grand.
USD, right? And that's great. And ILT20, Sharjah Cup, and then, you know, those leagues itself are big enough where you get exposure to GT20, MLC, yes, et cetera. So I don't know. Like, I would love to be in Usman Khan's ear right now and be like, what is going on? You tell us what's going on. Give us the scoop. Because this decision just baffles me.
What does it tell you about Pakistan's domestic circuit?
I was just coming to that. Thank you for mentioning it.
That we need to look for bringing in Usman Khan from the UAE, bringing in Mohammad Amir out of retirement, Imad Wasim out of retirement to put in the Pakistan squad. Do we not have talented players in the domestic circuit that can come in and replace them?
I'm 100% with you on this take. I think this is actually quite shocking and quite shameful as a mere reflection to Pakistan's domestic circuit, where we need to be pulling players that we sort of completely rejected. Usman Khan was a rejected player. The reason that he went to the UAE is because he didn't find any opportunities playing for Sindh and then for Pakistan. So to go back and be like, hey, we kind of missed a step here. I think the Pakistan board sort of had FOMO because they let Imran Tahir go. They let Sikandar Raza go. And these people did wonders for the respective countries that they played for. Like Sikandar Raza, being a Zimbabwe player, playing in the IPL and being one of the greatest all-rounders that Zimbabwe has ever produced, that's saying something, right? So Pakistan in that moment has FOMO. It's like, hey, we don't want to miss another bag. Maybe this is something that we can use. And then, you know, you go out and you take a vulnerable kid like Usman Khan who would love to play for Pakistan. You know, Pakistani players, whatever you call them, they're extremely loyal and extremely proud to play for Pakistan. And even a player who's only played one test match, like Shaheen Afridi's older brother, Abbas Afridi. Riaz Afridi, my bad. He's like so ecstatic for playing that one test match for Pakistan that he played. He's just happy.
He's a test player.
Like that's something to be really proud of. And, you know, if Usman Khan gets the chance to don the greens, I guess that's something that, you know, there's no price to that. But as someone who's sitting outside looking at the broader picture, I think time will tell if this played out well for him. I hope it does. I root for the guy. But again, short pitch bowling, this guy's done. So what exactly are we? You know, I don't know. You can put me in the number 4 spot. I can, if there's all full length balls, even I can hit a few. What do you think about that?
Yeah. How was the Nets on Saturday?
Anyways, next question.
How's the body feeling?
Next question. Yo, my body is so sore. I have this weird lower back situation going on. Like,
was it from bowling?
I don't know. I think it's just my lower back my glutes are very stiff.
Okay.
So, and that's all bowling when you're twisting and all that. So I think because my glutes are so stiff, my lower back gets affected. It's a whole thing. Like, I'm getting old, man. Yeah,
we took a break in Ramadan not playing cricket. I took the break that Virat Kohli took before the last Asia Cup happened in 2022. And I didn't touch a bat for 30 days. And now I'm back. So expect centuries, guys.
Somebody in the Discord said that you even have a bowling action like Virat Kohli. And I would respectfully disagree. But I don't know. You seem better in the Nets this time around.
Virat Kohli has a very deceptive bowling action.
That's what he said in the Breakfast with Champions show, right? He was like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my bowling actions. Is going all over the place. But yeah.
Well, the next thing is that New Zealand has sent in not their B team, but their C team. And a lot of their CD team. A lot of their players are involved in the IPL, being Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, Daryl Mitchell, Trent Bolt, Mitch Santner, Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, and Glenn Phillips. These are 8 guys or 7 guys that fit directly back into New Zealand's World Cup playing 11. And on top of that, Finn Allen and Adam Milne were scheduled to come to Pakistan. But on the last training session in New Zealand before they were flying to Pakistan, they picked up injuries. Finn Allen injured his back. Adam Milne injured his ankle. So New Zealand is coming in with a fresh team. I think only a few guys that you would even know of in the team. Mark Chapman is one of them. Ish Sodhi's coming. Tim Seifert is there. Michael Bracewell is captaining them. So it's a relatively new team. I don't think there's any excuse for Pakistan for not 5-0ing this series.
And watch Pakistan is 5-0 this series with a full squad, like top 11 best players of Pakistan of all time playing on all 11 and playing all 5 games. Just watch that. And then watch me lose my freaking mind if that happens. If Pakistan cricket team plays a single game where there's a 11-man squad that is the best 11-man squad that we've played, I will flip a table. Like, I will lose my mind. And you know what? With the way that the insecurity is in the PCT right now and the PCB, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised at this point.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect series for Pakistan to test their bench strength, give an opportunity to players like Usman Khan, see if Azam Khan can perform again in this series, because these are like his home conditions. They're playing in Pindi. Pindi is the home ground for Islamabad United. So if there's ever an opportunity to cement your place in the team, to make a case for the World Cup and the coming series, this would be the best chance.
I'm going to speak directly into the camera, into Babar Azam and Ko's hearts. Please give a round to the younger players and please make sure that you do justice with them. Like, don't play a single game for Azam Khan and then let him go. Don't play 2 games for Usman Khan and then never see him again. You've basically promised this guy that you're going to see him through to the World Cup. See him through to the World Cup. Just 12 T20Is. There's home conditions, there's away conditions. Express yourselves in the best of your abilities. I don't want a situation where it's 2023 World Cup and one baller gets injured and we're scrapping at the bottom of the barrel for fast bowlers. I don't want that situation like that. Test your Abbas Afridis. Test your Abrar Ahmeds. Make sure that everyone is T20 ready. Go out and win a chip. That's all I want. I don't give a shit about the next 5 T20Is if it doesn't further progress the cause of Pakistan's T20 World Cup.
Strong reports that Shaheen Afridi will be benched for a few games. Mohammad Amir has donned the greens. There's pictures leaking from his at the media shoot. Mohammad Amir wearing the greens. So looking forward to how Amir fits into this bowling attack. Naseem Shah is going to be back, so he will be the real one donning the greens after many months. Looking forward to seeing Naseem back in the squad. What I'm most looking forward to is seeing what opening pair Babar Azam goes in with. Is it going to be Simon Rizwan and Babar one down? I doubt it, because Babar mentioned he wasn't happy batting one down. Is it going to be Babar and Sim open and Rizwan goes one down? Now, I've had multiple conversations with people, and they have actually come up and told me that if Rizwan is not opening, he does not deserve to be in the playing 11. Also, when you have players like Usman Khan there and Azam Khan there, we should use them as wicket keepers, because Rizwan's strike rate is just not going to be up to par with modern day standards if he is not opening the innings. And that's also what I think, because whenever I make my playing 11 for Pakistan, I have Rizwan and Sim open. We did 2 polls, one on Instagram, one on Twitter, and we asked the fans, we asked you guys, who should be Pakistan's openers? Should it be Sim Rizwan, Sim Babar, Rizwan Babar? Should we bring that back? And 70% of people said it should be Sim and Babar. Now, if that's the case, I don't think Rizwan can be in the team if he's not opening, because his strike rate is already 127, 128, which he's an anchor. So does he fit in Pakistan's squad? I don't know.
Those are answers those are questions that are going to be answered the next 12 T20Is, to be honest. We'll find out on Friday who's opening for Pakistan. And if it's not Sim and if it's not Babar, I'd be genuinely upset. Like, this is going to be ridiculous to follow this team for the next 2 months. Because every single poll that we made on social media indicated that this is what the masses think. And I think, for the most part, it's a common opinion, and I think it's a correct opinion, where Sim and Babar should open. Like, Babar has sort of changed gears, at least for this PSL. We've seen him strike over 140 in the power plays at the opening position, if that's the Babar that comes through in the next 5 T20Is and then so on, then yeah, I don't mind that. Like a 140 strike rating, Babar can do it. Like he has that gear in him. He just, whatever it was that was stopping him in the past 2 years, I feel like whatever, it's broken now, it's gone, and it's time for him to just keep it at fifth gear and just, blow everybody out of the water. If that's the Babar we get and Saim will play his Saim game, it'd be 180 strike rate. Then you might even see Pakistan 65 and 6.
Whatever happens, Pakistan should not go back to the Rizwan Babar opening pair. And I have some numbers. I think I made this clip from that last Q&A podcast, was it? Where I said that Rizwan Babar were a defensive opening pair and people just went at me.
Lost their minds.
I accept the criticism, but let me just bring in some statistical numbers for you. Babar Azam's strike rate in the power play is 117. Babar Azam has a 42.6% dot ball percentage batting in the power play. Mohammad Rizwan's strike rate in the power play is 117 as well, who has a 45.1% dot ball percentage. Now, Pakistan's power play strike rate since December of 2020 is 112. 112 batting strike rate of the Pakistan team since December of 2020. And this basically means that if Pakistan's average power play score is around about 40, 41 in 6 overs.
Beautiful. 42-0 in 6. That's what Pakistan wants.
I can't tolerate that.
You lose your mind.
And I'm going to just emphasize why the power play is so important. Just one more thing, actually. So because of all the dot ball percentages of Babar and Rizwan in the power play, Pakistan on average wastes 21 power play deliveries. Now, these are deliveries that are happening in the power play where only 2 fielders are outside.
This is stats not gathered by Mazhar Arshad, but Bashar himself.
This is by me. There's a new feature on Cricinfo. It's called Ask Cricinfo. You can type in questions and it'll give you prompt responses.
Oh, is it like an AI situation?
It's sort of like an AI.
Oh, love that. So why didn't I just do that?
You can type in Babar Azam centuries.
Oh, so you're telling me now after I asked
and winning causes.
I had to Wikipedia this. All right, I'm going to do that right now.
It's actually, it's very fun. I play around with it all the time. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. And there's also this one article I read on grassroots cricket. It was about Babar Rizwan's opening pair and why it's not supportive of modern day cricket. And it's important that Pakistan gets ahead in the power play rather than being behind. And I'll give you 2 examples. If you look at the last 2 ICC World T20 knockout matches, the game against Australia that Pakistan played in the 2021 T20 World Cup, Australia scored 52 for 1 in the power play against Pakistan. So despite a fiery spell from Shaheen, they continued to score runs and they didn't slow down. And eventually, when the game caught up, they were already ahead of the game in the power play that they only needed like 30 in the last 3 overs and they won the match. If you also look at the semifinal in 2022, Pakistan versus New Zealand, Pakistan chasing 152, scored 55 runs in the power play. So they already scored like 1/3 of the runs in the power play, and they were ahead of the game. So these are very, very important parts of the match where if you have these small wins, they build up and they set a platform for the middle overs and the death overs. But if you're already behind in the power play, you're just constantly playing catch up.
I totally agree with you now. I think there was a moment where the Riz-Bar partnership was needed for Pakistan. It was late 2019s, 2020s. Early 2021s, but then there was a point where it became hurtful. And at this point, it just cannot go long anymore. Like I'm sitting here saying there are fond memories. We did a whole podcast of the Riz-Bar partnership. Like we think that there was a moment in time for that, but we've sort of progressed. Even as a country, like we have players that can fill in those spots that we needed a makeshift opener like Rizwan to come in and fulfill. Now we don't need it. That doesn't mean that Rizwan is completely neglected from the T20Is. I just think at this point, if Rizwan doesn't change his game, then he's making it tougher for himself to make a case to stay in the 11. That's just my take.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. The last thing I wanted to talk about actually is it's very sad and it just builds on to the incompetence of the PCB, and that is the injury from Ihsanullah. So just some context, some timeline. Ihsanullah was the best bowler of the PSL last year, clocked in 150 clicks. I think he was the 2nd highest wicket taker behind Abbas Afridi. And because of that, because of his fiery pace, his height, he He was given a chance in the Pakistan team against the series against Afghanistan and the series against New Zealand that followed at home. He also debuted for Pakistan in ODI, so he was sort of part of the Asia Cup and World Cup plans, kind of. Now, in the same series, the home series against New Zealand in April of last year, Ihsanullah complained of pain in his elbow. He was having issues with straightening his elbow. There were scans done, and Ihsanullah at the time had a fracture in his elbow, but the doctors were not able to pick up his fracture in the scans. Now, because the fracture wasn't picked up, Ihsanullah continued to do his bowling, do his gym work, which further exasperated his injury. Now, after further complaints of his elbow pain, there were additional scans done, which finally showed that he has a fracture in his elbow. Now, they did a surgery on his elbow as well, but they didn't fix anything, so the surgery was a fail. And this could have been a career-ending, or at the very least, a injury that could reduce his pace, that he's not even bowling like 145, 140 plus.
And then
which is what gives him the edge.
And what is the point of him then?
He's just another average bowler
as a unique asset for Pakistan. Yeah.
So now Ihsanullah is off to the UK. Multan Sultans have arranged doctors for him, which are being paid for by the PCB. This has all been said by Ali Tareen on his Twitter account. We had some information before, but just didn't think it was appropriate to disclose it. But his injury has been mishandled to the max. And Ihsanullah is a guy who is literally from a village in somewhere in KPK. He doesn't understand much. You can see that by how he handles his Instagram account. And he needs proper supervision, guidance. And there were still clips of him bowling in some match from the city where he's from. So just poor management. And we have the PCB has a track record of mismanaging injuries. And there's a trust deficit in the Pakistan team of the players and the PCB medical panel. You can see why Shaheen Afridi arranged his own doctors when he was injured in his knee. He went to this football club in the UK where he did his rehab. He got his own hotel. He was paying for his rehab himself. Eventually, when Afridi spoke out in the media, the PCB came in and reimbursed Shaheen for his expenses. Naseem Shah was carrying a shoulder injury for 1 year. He was complaining of shoulder pain, but his injury was not picked until his shoulder was ruptured. It was too late. He missed the ODI World Cup. Mohammad Haris paid for his own ankle injury rehab in the UK. He was not a contracted player by the PCB. And this is what leads to insecurity. This is why players don't want to rest. This is why they rush their comebacks, because they pay for this stuff on their own. They need money to make a comeback and rejuvenate or recuperate those losses. And it's just a sad state of affairs, because you can be a main bowler for Pakistan today, but you're one injury away from being mishandled by the PCB, the medical panel, and being out of cricket.
I mean, yeah, we heard rumblings about this when we were in Islamabad, and honestly, I didn't want to touch on this topic because it just makes me sad. Like, how many times are we going to let these so-called medical panelists at the PCB keep ruining careers? And like, I feel like people in Pakistan think that we have an abundance of bowlers and abundance of cricket players, and we may have a huge talent pool, but man, these players that come out in the top 15, top 20, top 25 are literally all we got at some point. And to see the Pakistan Cricket Board sort of not even mishandle, this is a clear corruption. Like, this is a clear state of incompetence and negligence from the PCB. And, Ihsanullah will once again be a footnote in the annals of Pakistan fast bowling because of what we've done to him. And, this doesn't just start from Ihsanullah. This goes way back to like Sarfraz Nawaz days, bro. Like, Waqar Yunus was on Butta Fast talking about how his injury was aggravated in right before 1992. He wasn't at the World Cup. This is why. We have this legacy of just making sure that our players never reach the potential that they can, because we make sure that they're pulled down from every single asset. Like, if you can't trust your medical panel, then who can you trust? And the fact that MS is sort of coming in, arranging it, and yeah, sure, Big Daddy PCB is coming in and paying for the bills, but They should be the ones arranging everything and making sure that this guy is playing for Pakistan in the next 24 months. And here we are talking about another horror story.
Rahman Reis on our podcast mentioned that in 2018, when he picked up his injury, Rahman Reis, a Champions Trophy winner, he was let go from the PCB's central contract list. He had to pay for his own surgery, and half of that bill was paid by Islamabad United. So you're talking about an international Pakistan player needing to be assisted by a franchise.
Champions Trophy winner.
A Champions Trophy winner, goddammit.
Yeah.
So this is this. So I think what it is that Pakistan having immense talent is both a blessing and a curse.
Yes. Because we take it for granted.
We're like, Ihsanullah gets injured, we'll find somebody else. We'll find Hasnain, we'll find Musa, we'll find the next Akif Javed, whatever it is, right?
I thought the 2023 World Cup would have been a grave reminder for the Pakistan cricket fans and the Pakistan cricket team / management that our resources are at the end of the day finite. We could not find a better bowler than Hassan Ali to replace Naseem Shah for the World Cup. That no shot that Hassan Ali is a world-class bowler, cricketer of the year, reason Pakistan has a Champions Trophy. I get it, right? Not the best pick for that special World Cup. So, I mean, quite a gruesome sight. I do hope Ihsanullah does come back and, takes his time with his aggravation and makes sure that he's well rested when he comes back. I don't want to end on this bleak note. There's a couple more things I want to discuss. They're not on the notes. We'll just go off the top of our head. What did you think about the Naseem Shah Pepsi ad?
Thought it was hilarious.
I think it was great.
Thought it was very, very funny. I thought that it showed what Naseem actually is. I think he's a good actor, and he improvised pretty well.
I think his comedic timing was on point. It just made me laugh. It was actually a very well directed spot. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I mean, obviously Naseem Shah himself is a superstar, and I think he's elevated himself single-handedly in the past 6 months to become Pakistan's most important and most famous player after Babar Azam in the 11. I think I was just in awe of what he was doing, because what you have to realize is, and I think this is what I wanted to talk about as well, and we're sort of tying it into the whole thing. Ed Sheeran's cricket run in the cricket press tour in India was very indicative of where Indian media / Indian cricket is. They had Shubman Gill with Tanmay sitting with Ed Sheeran, and the first thing that Tanmay asks Shubman Gill is about the Pakistan-India game. And knowing well enough that millions upon millions of people are going to see this, and I think that interview dropped on Ed Sheeran's channel. That's just sort of a genius marketing ploy to elevate Shubman Gill to a level where he's like, oh yeah, I hit Shaheen for 4 fours, and it smashed it completely changed the course of his career, at least in the next 6 months, and made it to the World Cup final. He completely skimmed over the fact that he just said, oh yeah, the first game I was kind of like not in it. Bro, he was bamboozled by Naseem Shah in that first game. And Naseem Shah then has a flip side on this side of the border is sort of making his mark, becoming the prince of Pakistan cricket right now as we speak, by going on this Pepsi ad. And Pepsi is the reason why I'm talking about this is because as a marketing student, I research this stuff. I look at this stuff, and Pepsi has sort of, over the past 20, 25, 30 years, solidified the Pakistan cricket giants through their advertisements. So in the 90s, it was Wasim Bakar, it was Imran Khan. If you remember that, was it the 96 spot where Imran Khan was in the thing with the do you remember what I'm talking about? I think Miyadad was in there too. They've sort of, and then you have that famous string song. And they sort of have moments where they come in and they solidify players here and there. I remember in the 2003, 2004 series where I think India was touring Pakistan or Pakistan was touring India. They had Mohammad Sami and all those guys in it. Just making sure that Pepsi is identifying who the star talent of Pakistan cricket is. And now, they had the whole 2023 World Cup campaign with Babar in it, Shaheen in it, Naseem in it, but obviously Naseem was injured, so he didn't really, that campaign went FUD. And Pakistan's World Cup in itself thud. But this coming out and giving Naseem his solo campaign, and Naseem just coming in and hitting it out of the park, I just think that they've sort of solidified Naseem as someone who's a mainstay. As long as he's healthy, as long as he's taking wickets, He has the face for it. He has the hair for it. He has now the acting chops for it. I think he's here to stay. He could be the next Imran Khan. He could be the next insert famous cricketer. I'm talking about fame. I'm not talking about class right now. I'm just talking about strictly fame. The popularity of him in the country. Insert famous cricketer Shahid Afridi, Imran Khan, Wasim Akram here. He has the knack to pull that off. I just thought that was just amazing, especially after the whole Ed Sheeran cricket press tour that went on in the past 2 weeks. So I don't know. My 2 cents on that has something to do with cricket, I think. What do you think?
I just hope Naseem Shah does not turn out to be the next Mohammad Sami.
Oh, well.
I heard Mohammad Sami's name in there, and I was like, bro.
Mohammad Sami was in the mid 2000s, I think one of my favorite cricketers.
He was destined to be the next Shoaib Akhtar.
Didn't Imran Khan say that, oh, you give me 11 Mohammad Samis and I'll give you something like that? Like,
No, he said Mohammad Sami has an incredible bowling action. If he improves his wrist position, he could be deadly.
Yeah.
And I think Mohammad Sami had all the ingredients and he got plenty of chances. But I think his test bowling average is 50 plus. You normally don't congratulate bowlers on having a 50 plus bowling average.
But imagine Mohammad Sami in his prime, 2004, 2005, during the T20 boom.
Yeah.
Insane. I just got goosebumps. Because this guy was bowling 150 plus consistently, and he had better accuracy than Mohammad Haris does right now, even though he himself was a tape ball bowler as well.
Haris Drove,
yes. What did I say?
Mohammad Haris.
My bad. Haris Drove. And like it would have just been great. Like him, a little bit of his glimpse in that 2016 World Cup where he had 2 for 2 against India. Man. Was it 2016 or 2014?
16,
right? Anyways, that was my 2 cents. Guys, do check out the Ed Sheeran stuff though. I was actually the Breakfast with Champions with Rohit Sharma and Ed Sheeran. Good stuff there. Good stuff. I think that's it for us. We actually covered a lot of cricket news in the past 2 weeks. Now that the Pakistan cricket team is starting to play cricket, we will be more frequent here. And behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff going on because we are moving houses right now. Hopefully, we'll get a bigger studio as well in this new house that we're moving into. And so, like, we will try our best to make sure that the episodes come out, but do forgive us if we are tardy. Do check out the Patreon account. And do check out the Discord servers in the description below. And please leave a like, subscribe. If there's any opinions that you disagree with, at Bashar, at Call Me Bashar on Instagram and Twitter, you know where to find him. This is Naseem from Backward Point signing off.
This is Bashar, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode very soon.